And so, my friends, we begin the special edition. Okay, you are watching. You are watching Political Point Magazine. On this special edition, where the right is right and the left is always on the wrong side of history. Why? Because political minds want to know. So enjoy a conservative point of view. And let's talk pea soup. With tonight's top stories. On this special edition, it is the 2014 year in review. Political Point goes through the highlights and lowlights of the year 2014. Yes, it is the best and worst of 2014. And Political Point takes a look also at what lies ahead for 2015. All right, now, yes, on the week of January 5th, 2015. All right, now. And I am your humble host, William Litro. Ah, yes, my friends. All right, my friends. Welcome to another edition of Political Point Magazine. Yes. All right, tonight we talk about the best and worst of the year 2014. Well, now, all right, my friends, we are going to go through the highlights and lowlights of the year 2014. Yes. Now, 2014 was a really rough year, especially for Obama and the Democrats. Okay. But, my friends, we will go through all of that and more, okay, as we see fit here, okay? So, but anyways, we are going to get into the year as it has been quite interesting, all right? And so, my friends, we go through it as 2014 was quite the interesting year. All right, it was a rough year for President Obama.
This can.
Yep. It was a rough year for President Obama. Indeed, it was. Okay, but anyhow, yes. So it was a rough year for President Obama. Okay, and we take a look at 2014 year in review. All right, so, but it was a rough year for President Obama as we take a look at what has happened. Okay, so
a big year for America. And
rough year for Obama. Okay. But anyhow, this is the year in review. All right, 2014 year in review. Okay. And now, as we take it to the take it in there. Okay. Okay. It comes at a time 2014 year in review here. All right. And so now, okay, as it becomes clear here, all right, it was a really rough year for the president, as lots of things have happened, okay, okay, lots of things have happened, all right, and the president wanted to make it a year of action, of action. Okay, yeah, but the president wanted to make it a year of action. All right, as he said in his State of the Union address.
That's what most Americans want.
Okay, yeah, but anyhow, all right, let's begin by taking a look at what really happened. Okay, now the president threatened at the start of the year that he was a president that worked unilaterally. Okay, and he didn't need, at the start of the year, he stated that he didn't need Congress. He had his pen and his phone, right? But then we had the healthcare scandal, the VA scandal, in which the VA secretary had to resign because there was a big VA scandal. Okay, there was a big VA scandal in which the veterans had long waits, and there was a waiting list, and the director resigned as a result of that. All right, and and then.
Thousands of children.
And then there was the mass the confusion at the border, where thousands of illegal children, minors, crossed the border, and the crisis on the border. All right. Yep. All right. Now, and as
Facilities and for.
And as it comes, they had to put all of these children into a warehouse, and it just got ridiculous. All right, it just got ridiculous here. All right.
The American people and my administration have great compassion for these children and want to make sure that they are cared for the way all children should be.
And
oh, and who could forget the Ebola crisis? All right.
in the seat.
Who could forget the Ebola crisis? This is what started it. All right. The Ebola crisis, which this guy Duncan was transferred from South Africa to the U.S. to a hospital in Texas, and then you had several other cases that broke out in America. There was the doctor from New York that came out, and then there was the nurse in the nurse from Maine who was defiant, and all of this other stuff. But the CDC became the Center for Disease Confusion, and President Obama got the short end of the stick on that one. Okay, got the short end of the stick on that one.
And in fact, likelihood that it spreads and could end up coming back to the United States. So we've got a lot more work to do.
And also, there was Ferguson. Okay, all of the protests over the Michael Brown and shooting and then the Scott Garner, and then of course there was the election of 2014. All right, but there was the election of 2014 of the Republicans retaking control of Congress. All right, but and on that note, okay, you remember what the president said, okay, but here's the first outlook of the year for President Obama when he had his final press conference.
2014 would be a year of action and would be a breakthrough year for America, and it has been. Yes, there were crises that we had to tackle around the world, many that were unanticipated. We have more work to do to make sure our economy, our justice system, and our government work not just for the few, but for the many.
Okay, yep. And then, of course, after the election, okay, oh, wait a minute. Okay, yeah, that's right. Okay. But then, of course, we had the best year for the Republicans, okay, when they took control of the House and the Senate. All right. But it was a breakthrough year, okay, in which the American people sent a really clear message. Sent a really clear message, all right, out, okay. It was a really clear message, all right. But anyhow, take a look at this though, all right. Okay. Okay, but you remember during the election, this is what President Obama said. All right.
On the ballot this fall. But make no mistake, these policies are on the ballot.
Yeah, these policies are on the ballot. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's what he said. All right. Okay, yeah. I'm not on the ballot this fall.
On the ballot this
Yeah. Okay, so that's what he said. I want to hear that again. Okay, but that was the biggest mistake that Obama could possibly make. All right. Yep. Okay.
I'm not on the ballot this fall. But make no mistake, these policies are on the ballot.
Yeah. And the American people sent a message loud and clear about what the message really is. All right. Yeah. And Democrats were scrounging and all of this. and so after Obama said that, right? All right. The Democrats kind of ran their own campaigns. They didn't want to have anything to do with Obama. All right. They didn't want to have anything to do with President Obama. Yeah. So because his policies were such a disaster, and the Republicans ran on that saying that Obama wasn't on the ballot, but his policies were, okay, and they made it a referendum on the Barack Obama's policies, his failed policies, by the way, and it all turned out pretty good, in fact, okay, but it all turned out pretty good. All right, because now, because then we have all the Republicans. Okay, we have all of the Republicans here. All right, and but all of the Republicans, so they expanded their majorities in the House, and the Republicans actually made history. All right, because in all of the campaign, okay, the war on women didn't work for the Democrats. The war against the war on blacks didn't work. Their race baiting didn't work. All right, their war on yes, and their war on coal didn't work as well. All right, because now, so, and now, there's a question of whether or not the Obama administration will work with the Republicans. Okay, but as new Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said, all right.
We can have real change in Washington, real change. And that's just what I intend to deliver.
Yep. And so that is exactly what is going on now. Okay. Recently, the Senate was sworn in and the House was sworn in, and they just had a battle or in the House over the speakership, but it turns out that they weren't successful because John Boehner is still the Speaker of the House. All right, but way at the beginning of the year, but actually towards the end of the year, there was a standoff on immigration. All right. Okay, but now, okay, but remember, directly after the election, okay, this is what President Obama said.
And they deserve credit for running good campaigns. Beyond that, I'll leave it to all of you and the professional pundits to pick through yesterday's results. What stands out to me, though, is that the American people sent a message, one that they've sent for several elections now. They expect the people they elect to work as hard as they do. They expect us to focus on their ambitions and not ours. They want us to get the job done.
Yep.
In both parties have a responsibility to address that sentiment. Still, as president, I have a unique responsibility to try and make this town work.
Yeah. Really? Try and make this town work? Okay. What else?
Now, I want you to know that I hear you. To the 2/3 of voters.
Yeah. So he said that he hears the voters. Really? But he's already threatening to veto legislation that comes from the Republican-controlled Congress. All right. Like for example, the very first thing that the Republicans are going to do is pass legislation on the Keystone Pipeline. All right. But on an interview with Greta Van Susteren on the record, this is what the new Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said.
Makes it look like he was totally unaffected by the outcome of the election. So it's not helpful. So what you have to do is you have to decide, am I going to decide not to do things that are in the best interest of the country because I'm mad at the president? I don't think that's a rational response. I do think that on the immigration issue, it really makes it very difficult to go forward on that. And we all think he made a big mistake if he was interested in actually getting some kind of results on immigration.
I mean, is there any sort of open conversation like, look, we have a problem here?
Well, I've been talking quite publicly about what he did, and I mentioned it again yesterday, but it's obviously an area of disagreement. And what we were trying to do is to talk about the areas where there's potential agreement.
How do you convey to the U.S. senators who are Democrats that you want to work with them, and this is not just, you know, us against them, or, you know, war, or
Well, interestingly enough, about half the calls I got after my election were from Senate Democrats. Now, I'm not telling you they were happy I won, but I think what they were happy about was they thought I would run the Senate differently, respect the views of members regardless of party, give them an opportunity to vote on amendments that they offer, their ideas, and we're pretty excited about the fact that you know, we intend to get the Senate back to the way it operated for a very long time before the last 4 years.
what do you think people in my hometown, Appleton, Wisconsin, now that this sort of historic shift of power, now the Republicans will take control of the Senate, how is it going to be different to them? And as they sort of watch from afar and watch what goes on in Washington, how is it going to appear different to them?
Well, let me tell you how I think they will notice the difference. There were two issues this year. One, people were obviously angry at the president. We all got that. The second thing was they really got the correct sense that the place wasn't functioning again. Now, they may have been confused about who was the cause of the dysfunction because the Democrats kept saying it was the House, but if you look at the facts, it was the Senate. I mean, the House passed lots of legislation, much of it on a bipartisan basis. It was the Senate that wasn't doing anything. Now, what I hope that the American people will figure out is that we're functioning again. We're actually addressing, for example, joblessness. Under the Obama economy, the average American, medium income and below, is $3,000 a year worse off than they were when the president came to office. And ironically, the people who've done the best during the Obama years have been the 1%, the people at the top. We want to start addressing the economy and jobs, and you do things like, you address that by doing things like approving the Keystone Pipeline, putting people to work, embracing the energy revolution that's going on in our country. We're now the #1 natural gas producer in the world, the United States, not somewhere else. Embrace the energy revolution. It's good for the country. Create jobs and opportunity that benefit people at the middle and lower income levels, not just the guys at the top.
Think it's tough for Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid to be soon leaving his job, becoming Minority Leader? Is that tough?
Well, it's an adjustment. It's going to be an adjustment for me. I mean, it's like, if you're a football fan, it's like the difference between being the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator. They're both important jobs, but you've got a better chance to score on offense. And the majority leader is the offensive coordinator. He gets to call the plays, determine what we're going to debate. And of course, my agenda is going to be very, very different from Harry Reid's agenda.
Mm-hmm. And so, as you just saw there, that in that interview, he said what I have been saying all along, okay, about the Democratic-controlled Senate, right? That all of these years, okay. It was Harry Reid holding up legislation, all right. Okay, that's why you didn't see anything getting done through the Congress, because Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid held up progress. He didn't even put up anything for a vote, anything. Furthermore, there hasn't been a budget in 6 years. There hasn't been a budget passed in 6 years. Okay, because Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid has been just holding up bills and just blocking everything. All right, but now that we have Mitch McConnell as Majority Leader, we are definitely going to see a more productive Senate, and we are going to get those bills that are on Harry Reid's desk and we are going to get a vote on all of those bills, and then have them sent to the president, and we'll see if he vetoes them or not. All right, but we will see progress. We will see now a more productive Congress. All right, but now, all right, moving on now, on the best and worst of 2014. Okay, 2014 year in review. All right, we go on to Obamacare. All right.
For decades, few things exposed hardworking families to economic hardship more than a broken healthcare system. And in case you haven't heard, we're in the process of fixing that.
2014. Okay, you remember back in 13, the website crashed, but okay, on the 29th of January, okay, the administration launched we found out that the administration, okay, had registered criminals orchestrating calls in the call-in center and other stuff like that. Okay. And then there was a crisis with the website and the enrollment, you know. But this is what they found. All right. But this is what they found. Take a look at this.
California, there are 43 people working as navigators right now who have criminal convictions.
Yep. Criminal convictions. Yep. Oh my gosh. Yep. And then there was the big botch up of over the numbers and the enrollment. Okay. And then this is what I consider the biggest April Fool's joke. Okay. All right. The biggest April Fool's joke. The administration comes out and they announce that there's 7.2 million enrolled in the Obamacare exchanges. Okay, take a listen to this.
April 1st, President announcement.
7.1 million Americans have now signed up for private insurance plans through these marketplaces.
Nah, but then we find out that okay, but then yep. And then after that, okay, but because of problems with the website and everything, okay, we have problems with the website and the enrollment, okay. We find out that Kathleen Sebelius, the Health and Human Services Secretary, resigned, stepped down. Okay. And because of and then we find out that they botched up the numbers and everything. All right. Okay. In fact, there was testimony to this. Okay. And then but they botched up the enrollment numbers. Okay. But you remember, okay, there was another pain in Obama's healthcare plan, okay, in which we learned from one of the architects of Obamacare, Jonathan Grouper. Okay, you remember him? Okay, he's the guy that came out and made these comments on about Obamacare. Okay, wait. But he's the guy that came out and made these comments right here. All right, take a look at this.
This bill was written in a tortured way to make sure CBO did not score the mandate as taxes. If CBO scored the mandate as taxes, the bill dies. Okay, so it's written to do that. In terms of risk-rated subsidies, if you had a law which said healthy people are going to pay in it made explicit that healthy people paying and sick people get money, it would not have passed. Basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. But basically, that was really, really critical to getting the thing to pass.
Really? Okay. But then, and then other tapes came out of him doing a lecture on the very same thing. All right, take a look at this.
People with expensive health insurance plans, they will no longer get a 40% tax break. What if we instead just levied a 40% tax on the insurance companies that sell these terrible expensive Cadillac plans? We said, well, that's pretty much the same thing, but why does it matter? I said, you'll see. And they were posted in that passed. Because the American voter is too stupid to understand the difference.
Really? America's too stupid to understand the difference? Okay. Well, after those comments, okay. Now, after those comments, he did go on air and apologize, but it didn't do him any good. All right. But take a look.
Video were made at an academic conference. I was speaking off the cuff, and I basically spoke inappropriately, and I regret having made those comments.
Really? Really?
To begin by apologizing sincerely for the offending comments that I've made. In some cases, I made uninformed and glib comments about the political process behind healthcare reform. I'm not an expert on politics, and my tone implied I was, which is wrong.
And then that of course, my friends, is when he got grilled. Okay, and let me show you some of the clips of when he got grilled. All right, take a look.
I don't think so.
Does MIT employ stupid people?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, so you're a smart man who said some, as the ranking member said, some really stupid things. And you said the same. Is that correct?
The comments I made were really inexcusable.
You didn't remember calling your fellow citizens stupid, and you didn't remember saying that you're the only person who cares about the uninsured, that the rest of your fellow citizens don't give a damn about the uninsured. You don't remember saying that?
I don't, because they were really glib and thoughtless comments that I made.
I was very frustrated with your statements. And I got to tell you, they were insulting. They were especially harmful because they gave the opponents of the ACA a PR gift.
I want to know how much you got from the taxpayer and then made fun of him after you got the money and lied to him.
I don't recall the total.
Suggested that.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
You paid, you and your institution, by the federal taxpayer and by the state taxpayer.
I have disclosed for the committee, as I understand from my counsel, I'm required payment.
I'm not asking what you disclosed. I'm asking you a question. Give me a dollar amount. How much were you paid?
As I said, the committee can take that up with my counsel.
What did you mean by too stupid to understand the difference?
Congressman, I didn't mean anything by it.
Well, you said it. You had to admit it.
I was once again being glib and trying to make myself seem smarter.
So you're a professor at MIT and you're worried about not looking smart enough?
Yes.
Really? Anyhow, so the professor got grilled, all right, and and in all of that, okay, and then we find out that that all of those enrollment numbers, the 7.1 or 7.2 whatever that they announced, okay, it was all overstated. It was all in other words, they jumbled up, they botched even the enrollment numbers up. Okay, they cooked the books on it. This even coming from testimony from the director of Medicaid.
Simply put, this was a mistake. Some individuals with both medical and dental coverage were counted twice in the individual affected enrollment numbers.
With Gruber not.
Yep. Everything that they have done in Obamacare. Okay. The thing needed to be repealed. All right. Okay. But then, my friends, we have some more highlights. Okay, going on here. All right, some more highlights. All right, but we go on to now, okay, Obama's failed foreign policy. Okay, so this is that was highlights, okay, of the year 2014. Okay, all right, okay, again, but also we could also call this we could also call this the lowlights of the year 2014. Okay, but anyway, we are talking now about Obama's failed foreign policy. Yep, Obama's failed foreign policy. Okay, but let's take a look at that. Okay, so first off, okay, so let's take a look. Okay, first off, we had
Worldwide.
we had worldwide terror. ISIS, okay, takes over in Iraq and Syria. All right. Okay, and then and then also, okay, as the New Yorker came out now, as the New Yorker came out, they were talking about ISIS, okay, but ISIS takes over Iraq and Syria, all right, and then this is what the New Yorker said about that, okay. This is what came out in the New Yorker. It says, the analogy we use around here sometimes, and I think is accurate, is if a JV team puts on Lakers uniforms, that doesn't make them Kobe Bryant. Okay, that was Barack Obama's words. That was Barack Obama's words back in January of 2014. All right, but in the New Yorker. All right, and he said that he was saying that about ISIS, mind you. All right, ISIS, the terror group. All right, and ISIS took over various spots of Iraq and Syria, and then we resorted to just airstrikes and Obama's failed strategy, in which he just announced airstrikes, and it's not going to be a prolonged war against ISIS. Okay, but apparently the president seemed to have been smoking some serious stuff, because ISIS proved to be a bigger threat than we thought, or at least he thought. All right, or at least he thought.
Long way from when you described them as a JV team. Was that bad intelligence or your misjudgment?
Keep in mind, I wasn't specifically referring to ISIL.
Eventually,
Really? And then, but eventually, like, it just got too out of hand. And then there was the Boko Haram terrorist in Africa.
They were soldiers and they asked us to board a vehicle, and my friends and I jumped from the vehicle and ran back home because we realized they don't look innocent to us.
Boko Haram, and then there was the Bo Bergdahl swap.
the United States.
Okay, remember the U.S. Marine, the U.S. Military, the U.S. military Sergeant Bo Bergdahl that abandoned his platoon. All right, there was the trade-off. Okay, the trade-off of Bo Bergdahl for 5 top-level
in Afghanistan,
command Taliban terrorists. All right, and then so then we and you have to wonder why. You had to have wondered why would Obama help the terrorists and not us? All right, but anyway, to the bitter end, we had problems with ISIS, and ISIS got ISIS. We're still fighting ISIS. All right, and then in August 9th, okay, on August 9th, Obama announces that his failed strategy, all right, of just dropping airstrikes in Iraq. All right, yeah, you remember this. Take a look at this. All right.
Today I authorized 2 operations in Iraq. Targeted airstrikes to protect our American personnel, and a humanitarian effort to help save thousands of Iraqi civilians who are trapped on a mountain without food and water and facing almost certain death.
And
we all know what a disaster that turned out to be. Right? Okay. Obama just doesn't get it. All right. He just didn't get it. All right. And then who could forget Chuck Hagel announcing his resignation. All right.
A delayed withdrawal of up to 1,000 U.S. troops.
Okay. Yep. But anyhow, Chuck Hagel resigned, and then they appointed. He appointed another person.
in 2015.
I accepted it because of the seriousness.
Yes, but anyhow, yep. But all right, so that, my friends, is what is in store with Obama's failed foreign policy. All right, but okay, but Chuck Hagel resigned, and now we have the new guy in his place. All right. Oh, and also we can't forget about a lot of things that have been going on with race. Okay. In this country. All right. And this is and this is some more of the lowlights here. All right. So we go through some more of the lowlights. Okay, of 2014. All right. Okay. Now, just recently, okay. Just recently. Okay. Recently, okay. So now we go through the lowlights of the year 2014. All right. Now, just recently, okay. You remember all of the protests over the police shooting of some black people, okay, like Michael Brown and Eric Gardner, okay, and other types of stuff. But the situation got heated, especially in New York, okay, where Mayor De Blasio kind of put his kind of unsorted his priorities, right? In other words, he supported the protesters, all right? He supported the protesters and didn't support the police, all right? And recently, they had some police shootings. Okay, recently they had some police shootings, and in which two of New York's finest were assassinated, and then at the funeral, okay, mind you, at the funeral, at the funeral, the police, New York's finest, once again turned their back on Mayor De Blasio. Okay, now you see him there, right up there, okay, and he's speaking at one of the funerals. but the police force just wasn't listening to them. In fact, towards the end of 2014, Mayor De Blasio had a meeting with the police officers union. Okay, and the president of the president of the police union came out and spoke to the press after the meeting, and this is what he said about it. Right now, this is what he said about it. Take a look at this. All right.
Number of discussions, especially about the safety issues that our members face. There was no resolve, and our thought here today is that actions speak louder than words, and time will tell.
And time will tell. And so, my friends, on that note, okay, the mayor is quite in trouble. In fact, there's a lot of people now calling for Mayor De Blasio to resign. All right, and so, we have situations here now that that now call for. So now, what lies ahead? What lies ahead for the president now, and what lies ahead for 2015 now? Okay, well, what lay ahead? Okay, now I personally would like to see some progress, and I would like to see a productive Congress. Okay, and that, I believe, is what we are going to see with the Republicans in control of both houses of Congress here. Now, I think we will see a lot of progress. But now, towards the start of the year, I want to mention something that has happened recently. Okay, and that is, my friends, that America has lost a very liberal governor. Okay, former New York Governor Mario Cuomo, the three-term New York governor and father of the state's current governor, died Thursday at the ripe old age of 82. Now, Cuomo is among the most iconic New York governors of the 20th century, known for his very, very extreme liberal views. This guy's more liberal than Ted Kennedy. All right. But he's known for his very, very extreme liberal views, his soaring speeches, and deeply held beliefs that made him among the most prominent Democrats of his time. His death came at the same time, on the same day as his son, Governor Andrew Cuomo's inaugurated second. Andrew Cuomo was inaugurated for a second term, but Andrew Cuomo announced that his father couldn't be here physically to address to be at the inauguration. All right, but he said his father was in the room spiritually. All right, so but apparently Mario Cuomo had been having heart problems and health problems and stuff like that, and he Mario Cuomo also decided, but here's a little history about the guy. Mario Cuomo decided against a run for president in 1991, famously leaving an airplane on the tarmac in Albany that was destined for New Hampshire. His decision opened the door for Bill Clinton to win the party's nomination that year. Nomination and the presidency that year. Okay. Now, a father of 5, Cuomo took great pride in his humble upbringing. Okay. He was the son of an Italian immigrants who worked in his father's grocery store in Queens before becoming a politically active attorney and ascending to the governorship in 1983. Okay. Yep. Now, Mario Cuomo was a Roman Catholic and rarely strayed from his own personal beliefs despite the political fallout. All right. Okay, he never swayed from his opposition to the death penalty, and even in the face of rising crime in the 1980s and early 1990s, and public support for it. Okay, so he was against the death penalty, even though crime was really high when he was governor. Oh gosh, you know, that was the worst. Okay, now amid a drug crisis that plagued cities, he started to the country's most extensive drug treatment network, yet also ended up expanding the state's prisons. Yep. His son, ironically, has sought to close some of the prisons. But Mario Cuomo was last seen publicly with Andrew Cuomo when Andrew Cuomo was re-elected to a second term, November 4th. He briefly took the stage with his son, looking frail while grasping and raising his son's hand. Okay, so my friends, so that is a little history there. All right, but that was Mario Cuomo, who died at the age of 82. All right, now on to some more important things here. All right, and I want to get into this because what I would like to see is a balanced budget. Okay, now that we have the Republicans in control of Congress. Okay, and speaking of the budget, my friends. Okay, I want to go over a few things. Okay, before I get to the last words of the night. For the night. Okay, but you see this chart? Okay, this is how Congress spends your money. Okay, now the budget over here that you see. Okay, and this takes up a lot of things here. All right, but anyhow, this is the chart of the budget, and the orange line is the line from 2014. Okay, now if we go down further here, you will see that a good majority of the spending of our tax dollars are wasted on the Department of Health and Human Services. All right. Okay, and that's Obamacare, and that's entitlements like Medicaid and welfare and stuff like that, you know. And it's a good part of the budget that's drowning out Okay, everything. You see that there? All right. But anyhow, my friends, that is the budget and a good bunch of it. Okay, the budget. We have a deficit now of $18 trillion. Okay, 18 trillion and climbing. Okay, and now, which reminds me that that we need tax reform. Okay, we need to abolish the IRS. We need to abolish all of these pork barrel projects, and we need to cut taxes. And we need to also cut a lot of the budget in there, of what's in the budget. We need to repeal and replace Obamacare because it's basically a disaster. Okay, they lied to us about Obamacare. All right, and everything is coming down the pike. All right, but anyhow, okay, but that's the budget, my friends. I didn't get a chance to take you through a lot of what I wanted to, but in light of all the protests and everything, in light of all the protests, okay, I have actually something that I want to show you. Okay, so now this is the last words for the night. Okay, and we take you to the good words of Paul Harvey. Okay, now, all right, now I have always said that the police are not the problem. Okay, but but these, my friends, right here, okay, these are the last words of the night, in which I want you to see this. Okay, these are the words of Paul Harvey. Okay, take a look at this. All right, here we go. All right.
This man is a composite of what all men are, I guess, a mingling of saint and sinner, dust and deity. What that really means is that they are exceptional, they are unusual, they are not commonplace. Buried under the froth is the fact, and the fact is that less than 0.5% of policemen misfit that uniform, and that is a better average than you'd find among clergymen. What is a policeman? He of all men is at once the most needed and the most wanted, a strangely nameless creature who is sir to his face and pig or worse behind his back. He must be such a diplomat that he can settle differences between individuals so that each will think he won, but if a policeman is neat, he's conceited. If he's careless, he's a bum. If he's pleasant, he's a flirt. If he's not, he's a grouch. He must make instant decisions which would require months for a lawyer, but if he hurries, he's careless. If he's deliberate, he's lazy. He must be first to an accident, infallible with a diagnosis. He must be able to start breathing, stop bleeding, tie splints, and above all, be sure the victim goes home without a limp. The police officer must know every gun, draw on the run, and hit where it doesn't hurt. He must be able to whip two men twice his size and half his age without damaging his uniform and without being brutal. If you hit him, he's a coward. If he hits you, he's a bully. The policeman must be a minister, a social worker, a diplomat, a tough guy, and a gentleman. And of course he'll have to be a genius because he'll have to feed a family on a policeman's salary.
Mm-hmm. Now those words, my friends, are quite timeless. All right, okay, and my friends, that is the show for tonight. All right, the best and worst of 2014, and now we lead you off again. I am Will Mitro. Okay. We thank you for watching Political Point, where the right is right and the left is always on the wrong side of history. Always follow me on Twitter at WilliamMitro2. And follow us on YouTube. All right.